Hi guys, welcome to Sim Raid YT, and today we'll be doing the dungeon map in the Dragon's Lair. Now with the Dragon's Lair, it gives you simple and you can get speed and lifesteal sets, some of the most important sets in the game. This makes it easier to build a dragon slaying champion team. To get past the first and the second rounds, you will need to be some strong AoE attackers. Then once you get to the dragon boss himself, you will want to place decreased defense and decreased attack debuffs on him, while having healer champions in your team and removing debuffs from your champions. Now Hellraiser's signature skill is Inhale. Hellraiser is the dragon. A passive with a 3-turn cooldown which resets your champion's turn meters and unlocks his Scorch skill for its next attack. Scorch does a lot of damage and places a team-wide stun as well that can't be blocked or resisted, which then in turn gives Hellraisers 2 attacks in a row. Now, also he has a section which is a purple bar in his health. If you can deal that amount of damage of that purple health bar before his next turn, his Scorch will be in lockdown again. Once you get into the higher levels, if you have champions with poison and HP burn, that will help as well in the harder stages. But before we get underway, I want to show, I'm only a low level player. So we'll show the Great Hall to show you where I'm at. So my videos are going to help out low level players as myself, mid-range players, so you can see you don't need to have your Great Hall and everything maxed out. As long as you've got some of it done, you know, work on your accuracies. That's the most important, because that'll help your champions get their skills away. Now with accuracy, it works like, okay, level 1, as long as you have 10 accuracy, you've got a great chance of getting your skills away. At level 10, if you have 100 accuracy, okay, you're pretty good, and so on. You know, level 20, you want 200 accuracy. Now the champions I'll be using in the game will be Mother Sabelli. Now the reason I use Mother Sabelli is she's got speed, so you want to have a lot of speed in your team. So try to put a champion up front who has a speed boost, and she has a speed boost of 24%, so that's going to benefit my other players as well in the group. You can see I've got to build out with a lot of speed, so around the 250 mark in speed. As you can see, speed here and resilience, HP, defense to give her that extra boost. Now her skills are Mask of Dread. Attacks all enemies, has a 25% chance of placing a 30% decreased speed debuff for 2 turns. So if she can get that skill away, that's going to slow down the enemy as well and getting chances to attack you as well. Also, this fills the champion's turn meter by 15%. Now I have her booked out, so that's why she gains the additional damage and buffs and chances here. Now her Soul Shepherd is the best move for my other champions. It places a revive on death buff and a 60% increased defense buff on allies for 2 turns. And I booked that down so it comes down to 3 turns. Uncanny Treasury swaps HP with an ally. If there's a champion HP is equal to higher than the target's after the swap, fills the champion's turn meter by 40%. Places a 30% increased speed buff on this champion for 2 turns, and places a block damage buff on the target ally for 1 turn. If this champion's HP is lower than the target's after the swap, fills the target turn meter by 40%, places a 30% increased speed buff on them for 2 turns, and places a block damage buff on this champion for 1 turn. Also places 2 15% continuous heal buffs on this champion for 1 turn. So as he gets increased speed, block damage, continuous heal, and it's on 3 turns. This is another fantastic thing. So if one of your nukers, that's a hard hitting champions you've got in your team, it's nearly about, you know, die low on health, use this, swap it over, that gives all them the health from Mother Sabelli to the other champion, and she takes the buff here so she can't be damaged for a couple turns. The Great Walker, so if she fully heals the ally with the lowest HP whenever this champion is killed. But you really hope that she doesn't get killed. You want to keep her alive so she's there to benefit those other champions. For her masteries, I have her set up in offensive gear. She's got crit rate, increases damage inflicted by 5% when attacking with 50% HP or less. Life Drinker heals by 5% of damage inflicted when attacking with 50% HP or less. Required rank is 3-star. Increases damage inflicted to targets with less than 40% HP by 8%. That's a single out. Bring It Down. Increases damage inflicted by 6% when attacking targets with higher max HP. Increases damage inflicted by this champion's default skill by 2% each time it is used during battle. Stacks across each round in a battle up to 10%. And then I have her in War Master. Has a 60% chance of inflicting bonus damage when attacking. Bonus damage is equal to 10% of the target's champion's max HP or 4% of the target's max HP when attacking bosses. Bonus damage can only occur once per skill and does not count as an extra hit. Damage is based on enemy max HP. So in defense side, we have gives extra defense there. Decrease the damage received by this champion by 8% when this champion is hit with a critical hit. Heals this champion by 10% of their max HP when they kill an enemy target. Cooldown 1 turn. Reduces the damage this champion receives from a specific enemy by 0.75% with each hit taken from that enemy. Damage reduction stacks up to 6% for each enemy. Has a 60% chance of placing a leech debuff for 1 turn when placing stun, sleep, fear, true fear, freeze, petrification debuffs. And then has a 20% chance to counterattack an enemy when they apply a stun, sleep, fear, true fear, freeze, petrification debuff on an ally. Cooldown 1 turn. So you can see my stats here. It's speed's the most priority, 247. She has an accuracy of 164. But over time, I've got to keep building the accuracy up higher and higher. So that's the idea when getting the dragon. Once you can get into the higher levels of the dragon to get 4, 5, 6-star gear. Another champion we'll be using here is AOX. Now AOX, he has the benefit of he can do healing to your other champions as well, to your nukers, to help keep them alive. I have him at just over 200 speed, so it makes it, he's faster in the team. Give him the extra turns as well. His crit rate is over 100%, only needed 100%, but I just don't have the right equipment at the moment to be able to give it 100% and put some extras like accuracy here. I have him over 200, so he's pretty good, so he should be right to about level 20. But his most important is his skills. He attacks one enemy 2 times. Each hit has a 10% chance of placing a 5% poison debuff for 2 turns. Damage is based on attack, but this is the one, Law of Restoration. Attacks one enemy, heals all allies with 10% of their max HP. So this is AOX's best move. This is where you're wanting to prioritize his skills to. Heals each ally for an extra 2.5% for each debuff on this target. So with his books he gets the additional damage, heals and a cooldown back to 3 turns. The Weight of Aeons. Places a 50% decreased attack debuff on all enemies for 2 turns. Also has a 75% chance of decreasing enemy turn meter by 20%. Places a 30% decreased critical rate debuff on the target for 2 turns if they have 50% or more turn meter after the turn meter decrease. Decrease attack, decrease critical rate, and with his books brings him back to 3 turns. Steward of Time increases the duration of 2 random debuffs on the attacker by 1 turn when attack occurs once per hit. His masteries, we have him set up in offensive and support. So we just make these quick. Crit rate of 5% extra, crit damage an extra 10%. Increases damage inflicted by 5%. Increases damage inflicted to targets with less than 40% HP. Holds by 5% of damage inflicted when attacking with 50% HP or less. It increases damage inflicted by 6% when attacking targets with higher max HP. Increases damage inflicted by this champion's default skill by 2% each time it is used during battle. Stacks across each round in a battle up to 10%. And then we have him in War Master. We could have put him in defense. It wasn't so much him doing attack to do damage here. He's more here just to heal and help with our other nukers to keep him alive. And then we have the support, accuracy, where increases accuracy by 20 when this champion has no skills and cooldown. The Swarm Smitter increases accuracy. Increases the base stat set bonus of all artifact sets to increase base stat by 15%. This increases multi-active, not additive. Decreases the target turn meter when this champion hits them with the default skill for the first time. Decreases the turn meter by 20% with a single target skills and 5% with AoE skills. Occurs once per target. Increases the chance of placing any debuff from skills or attacks by 5%. It will not increase the chance of placing stun, sleep, freeze, fear, true fear, provoke, and petrification debuffs. Master Hexer has a 30% chance to extend the duration of any debuff cast by this champion by 1 turn. It will not extend stun, sleep, freeze, provoke, fear, true fear, bomb, or petrification debuffs. And his total stats, we have him at 202 speed, so he'll go second in the team. Mother Sibeli will go first, then AOX, and then we'll have our nukers come in behind. His crit rate's 124, so over time we'll get that back to about 100% and try to give him some extra damage or speed and accuracy. And as you see, the Great Hall, as we keep increasing our Great Hall, these stats here will improve as well. Our next champion will be one of our nukers, which is Solus. Now, Solus, we have him in some perception, which gives him the additional accuracy and speed, and we have him in speed as well. Now, his total stats, we have him at just at 100% crit rate, 102 to be precise, 156 damage, and 190 accuracy. So as we increase that Great Hall in the accuracy, it'll gain additional here, and then we'll focus on crit damage as well. His skills, Bewildering Blow. Attacks by an enemy, has a 35% chance of placing a stun debuff for 1 turn. Damage is based on defense. His Wave of Despair. Attacks 3 times at random. Each hit has a 75% chance to remove a buff. Places a provoke debuff for 1 turn if a buff is removed. Damage is based on defense. Reign of Terror. Attacks all enemies. Increases the duration of all debuffs on each target by 1. Then places a provoke debuff on all enemies for 1 turn. Places a shield buff on this champion for 2 turns equal to 30% of the damage inflicted. Damage increases by 10% for each debuff on the target. Damage is based on defense, so he has the shield and provoke, and you get the additional with the books, brings him back down to 4 turns. And then his Aurora skill increases ally defense and faction crips by 44%. That's if you're going to put him in the lead. Now the masteries here, we're in offensive gear and defense. The offense, we have crit rate, crit damage, increases damage inflicted to targets with less than 40% HP by 8%. Increases damage inflicted by 6% when attacking targets with higher max HP. Increases damage inflicted by 6% in the arena and 3% in all other locations for each enemy killed by this champion in battle. Stacks across each round in battle up to 12%. That's on the kill streak. And then we have him has a 50% chance of ignoring 25% of the target's defense. For skills that ignore defense, this 25% is addition to the amount ignored in the skill. We have increases damage inflicted by 8% for the first hit on each enemy, and increases damage inflicted to targets with stun, sleep, fear, true fear, freeze, petrification debuffs by 12%. In our defense, we have him with additional defense of 75. Decreases damage received from AoE attacks by 5%. Has a 50% chance to remove 1 random debuff from this champion when they lose 25% of their max HP or more from a single enemy skill. Reduces the damage this champion receives from a specific enemy by 0.75% with each hit taken from that enemy. Damage reduction stacks up to 6% for each enemy. Has a 50% chance to counter attack when this champion loses 25% max of their max HP or more from a single enemy skill, and has a 20% chance to counterattack an enemy when they apply a stun, sleep, fear, true fear, freeze, petrification debuff on an ally. Cooldown 1 turn. As you can see here, our total stats, crit rate is 102, speed 191, so this is what I'm saying, we have Mother Sibeli as a lead, AOX will come in second, and then we'll start smashing with our Our champions after that, critical damage 156 and accuracy of 190. So with 190 accuracy, he'll be good up to level 18, 19 at this stage. Our next champion we'll have in the team will be Royal Guard. Now Royal Guard at the moment, you can see I haven't really got him in sets or anything. He's only in perception to give him the accuracy and this little bit of extra speed. His speed is around the 191. His damage is 154 and accuracy of 209. Now over time we'll keep working on the crit damage to increase that. His skills: Razor Blade has attacks one enemy, has 50% chance of placing a 60% decreased defense debuff for 2 turns, decreases defense. I have him booked out as well. The Takedown attacks all enemies, damage increases according to the enemy max HP. So this is his big move, which he's going to do the most damage on. Damage is based on attack enemy max HP. His Hamstring attacks 4 times at random. Each hit has a 60% chance of placing a 30% decreased speed debuff for 2 turns. Each hit also has a 60% chance of decreasing the target's turn meter by 25%. His Aurora increases ally attack in dungeons by 35%. So sometimes, he'd be a good champion to put in your lead. Now his Masteries, of course, we've got him set into offensive gear to give him that extra attack. And we've got some support on him as well, just to helps him. He's got crit rate of 5%, crit damage at 10%, increases damage inflicted by 5% when attacking with 50% HP or less, heals 5% of damage inflicted when attacking with 50% HP or less, and increases damage inflicted by 8% for the first hit on each enemy. Increases damage inflicted by 6% when attacking targets with higher max HP. Increases damage inflicted by this champion's default skill by 2% each time it is used during battle. Stacks across each round in a battle up to 10%. War Master has a 60% chance of inflicting bonus damage when attacking. Bonus damage is equal to 10% of the target champion's max HP or 4% of the target max HP when attacking bosses. Bonus damage can only occur once per skill and does not count as an extra hit. Damage is based on enemy max HP. Accuracy here, in his pinpoint accuracy, additional 10%. Increases accuracy by 20% when this champion has no skills. So your first move, first attack, you have that additional as well. Increases accuracy by 4% for each enemy alive, stacks up to 16. Has a 5% chance of decreasing the cooldown of a random skill by 1 turn at the start of every turn. Decreases the target turn meter when this champion hits them with the default skill for the first time. Decreases the turn meter by 20% with a single target skill and 5% with AoE skills. Occurs once per target. Increases the chance of placing any debuff from skill or attacks by 5%. It will not increase the chance of placing stun, sleep, freeze, fear, true fear, provoke, or petrification debuffs. Required rank 5 star has a 30% chance to extend the duration of any debuff cast by this champion by 1 turn. It will not extend stun, sleep, freeze, provoke, fear, true fear, bomb, or petrification debuffs. And our other champion which we'll bring into the team will be Cold Heart. Now, with our Cold Heart, we've set her up as a nuker as well, and we've got her in reflex gear. So it gives a 40% chance to random skill to bring it back down, and accuracy. We've got her set up as speed at 157, so she's our slowest. We really need to work and focus on that over time to bring her up higher. Her crit rate is very, very low. It's only at 39. We need to get that at 65% because with her skills, her 65% is already required here, plus the skill will bring it up as what we need. But our crit damage is what here we're really focused on with her. We're at 199 crit damage and 287 accuracy. So at 287 accuracy, she'd be right to go right through to level 25. Wouldn't be a problem at all. We'll have a look at her skills. Attacks 4 times at random. Each hit has a 25% chance of placing a 100% heal reduction debuff for 2 turns. Damage 5% chances extra here. So that gives us 25% extra benefits there. Art of Pain. Attacks all enemies. Has a 30% chance of placing a 50% decrease attack, decrease accuracy debuff for 1 turn. Places a 5% poison debuff for 2 turns if the target is under a heal reduction. And the damage is based on attack. Decrease attack and poison here on 3 turns. But her main power is her Heat Seeker. Attacks one enemy. Decreases the target turn meter by 100%. Has an extra 30% chance of inflicting a critical hit. Damage increases according to the enemy max HP. But this turn meter by 100%, this is what makes Coldheart one of your best void champions in the game. Be able to turn that turn meter back down to nothing, and it's on a 4-turn cooldown. Her masteries, we have her set up in offensive gear, crit rate extra 5%, crit damage 10%, increases damage inflicted by 5% when attacking with full HP. Increases damage inflicted to targets with less than 40% by 8%. Increases damage inflicted by 6% when attacking targets with higher max HP. We've got increases speed by 6 for each enemy killed by this champion. Stacks across each round in battles up to 18. In speed, has a 30% chance of decreasing the cooldown of a random skill by 1 turn if the damage inflicted by a skill exceeds 30% of the target's max HP. Occurs once per turn. Next here, we have increases damage inflicted by 6% in the arena and 3% in all other locations for each enemy killed by this champion battle. Stacks across each round in a battle of up to 12%. Places a shield buff on this champion for 1 turn when this champion kills an enemy. The value of the shield is equal to 50% of this champion's max HP. Occurs once per turn. And then we have crit damage of 20%. I went with flawless for the extra crit damage. In support, we have accuracy at 10. Increases accuracy by 20 when this champion has no skills or cooldown. So that's your first turn. You will get that benefit. Increases accuracy by 4 for each enemy alive. Stacks up to 16. Decreases the target's turn meter when this champion hits them with a default skill for the first time. Decreases the turn meter by 20 when this single target skill and by 5% with AoE skill. Occurs once per target. Has a 30% chance to extend the duration of any debuff cast by this champion by 1 turn. It will not extend stun, sleep, freeze, provoke, fear, true fear, bomb and petrification debuffs. So you can see here our total skills. We have a 157 speed. It's something we want to work on to get higher up. Our crit rate, we need to really get to 65%. So as we get better gear, we'll look at doing that. And our crit damage 199%. So you know this is really, with her main skill, is really going to do a lot of damage when it works. And accuracy of 287, which is fantastic at this stage in the game. Okay, and we'll jump straight into it now, guys. That's how I just wanted to show you everything, how I have it set up, what we do, for these levels, be a low level player to what I can achieve in the game. We'll jump straight into it, stage 19. And we'll get it underway with the cost 16 energy. Get a couple of debuffs out there happening. That's why you want to have a mixture of champions in your team. Someone can put buffs and debuffs on your champions and buffs on the enemy to make it easy for your champions to do damage. Put a nuker or 2 in your team. Healer, revive champions. You just use what works for you. And be an early stage player, we don't have the best gear or the best setup from the town hall to give those additional boosts there, so we've just got to focus on what we can do as we achieve the levels. Over time, just put better gear onto your champions as you get those rewards. It's just trying to finish the highest level which you can for the best rewards. Even if you have a champion dies during the fight, it's not so much it matters or anything, as long as you get the victory in the end of the fight. You see we get a few buffs out there happening, debuffs. Mother Sobelli puts on her Soul Shepherd, so if any champion did die in the next go, they'd be revived. At this stage I'm not looking for a speed team to set up. You know, I don't have the items, the equipment to do that, or the extra abilities from the town hall. It's just focus on winning the battles. You know, try to put a speed champion in the front I do, so it gives me that additional speed to have those extra turns over the enemy if I can. Now we're on to the dragon himself. Debuff blocked. Now the higher the level you go, the more accuracy you need on your champions to be able to get the skills off as well. We seem to be doing pretty well here so far. Takedowns one of the major skills. Overall guard. And there was Coalheart with her move. And that gives us a reward of lifesteal. We've got HP, accuracy and attack. I won't worry about keeping that because I'm trying to get items which are level 6 items, and mostly with percentages on them. Okay, thank you guys, and that was Dragon's Lair Stage 19.